Hey everyone, welcome to Grow with Sokrati podcast. This is Akhil, AVP Digital Center of Excellence. Grow with Sokrati is a series curated to share learnings from some of the most successful brands and keep you on top of the things from marketing and technology. Today we are addressing the vast landscape of marketing measurement, and I'm extremely excited to host Gauri Sharma, Digital Marketing Manager at Bajaj Auto. Gauri comes with 7 years of experience in tech and marketing. Having worked with giants like Google, Gauri has insights like no other. Now he has been transforming and growing the brand of Bajaj Auto. I'm sure he has a lot of insider content to share with us on this podcast. Welcome, Gauri. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Akhil. Thanks for having me here. We have had multiple conversations off camera, and it's really exciting to have a conversation on camera today. Excited to be here.
Yeah, finally, I mean, we finally did it after a lot of back and forth. So I'm glad that we are doing this. So Gauri, I'm gonna put you on spot right from the first question, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of talk about measurement nowadays. So could you tell me about what has changed, as in the measurement, in the recent few years that the measurement has become so important for every marketer and every brand?
Right. I think a lot has changed in marketing, and the way we can talk about it is three main pillars have changed. One is the consumer standpoint pillar, the other one is the text pillar, and the last one is the policy pillar. So if we talk about customer standpoint, customers are being very, very cautious and wary about where their data is going. They're curious and asking questions: where is it being used and why is it being used? From a tech side, if you see, there's a lot of buzz around third-party cookies going away and cookieless future, right? So I think since cookies are going away, and especially third-party cookies are going away, a lot of things are going to change from the measurement standpoint. And if we talk about policies, the latest big policies which have come into effect are the CCPA, which came in 2020, and the earlier one was the GDPR, which came into effect in 2018. So I think these three pillars are changing and continuously moving from one direction to the other. But overall, it's going to be exciting times for all the digital marketers.
Absolutely. I mean, you just have set the context for the entire discussion in your intro, right? So, I mean, firstly, we're going to touch base about how traditional brands are kind of adapting to this changing landscape. And especially since you're from Bajaj Auto, right, you would have a lot of intel for us to provide, right? How a traditional brand like Bajaj, for example, is kind of approaching the this transformation to measurement-driven performance marketing.
Yeah. I think everything boils down to one cliched adage in marketing, which is customer is the king. And when you want to delight your customers, all your strategies, all your organizational efforts fall into place where your organization wants to move into, right? And the way I think about digital transformation is essentially you are, first of all, building your inner capabilities. Now, whether it is IT infra or digitizing your processes. And once those inner capabilities are established and refined, you start to delight your customers in every way possible. And if you have to think about it, I like to think about it in a way of a triangle. And there are three vertices to a triangle, which is the customer experience. That is the one vertex. Then there is customer data sets. And the final is the digital marketing. And customer is sitting at the centroid of this overall triangle. But this triangle works only when your inner capabilities are established and refined, right? And that's why if you see big brands like Nike or Starbucks, they have transitioned to a digital world or a digital first world in a very seamless way, because they have been able to refine their overall IT processes, digitizing their overall IT infra, and ultimately they have been able to deliver on customers' requirements and have been able to delight the customer. Take, for example, Starbucks. What are they doing? They are using their app, which is nothing but a database, as a customer loyalty program where they have got everything from what are your preferences for the coffee to offering certain discounts to their customers so as to increase the footfall. So I think digital transformation is all about commitment from the leadership and ultimately delivering on the customer's expectations. through that capabilities which you have enhanced, established, and refined in the journey of a business.
That's an interesting insight. I mean, it's not just a marketing team which has to embrace this, it's an entire company which has to embrace the entire digitization and even the measurement, or you can say a clog in the entire wheel, you can say. Cool. Since you're here in the room, right, Gauri, I have to definitely ask this question for my sake and for our viewers. Recently, I came across an ad in Instagram about Chetak. Now, growing up, Chetak was an OG brand, which is the first kind of scooter that I have seen across on the roads. Right now, it's coming as an EV model. It's a revolution in the automotive industry, right? So definitely want to understand more about how you guys have approached the marketing and digital marketing efforts of such a, you can say, launch.
I think Chetak has been a household name for all of us, and I'm sure for all of our viewers also, it would be a household name, right? And the way Chetak and multiple other brands in the EV industry have revolutionized the overall mobility in India and the world outside, Chetak is revolutionizing it further. The way Chetak and its sales and marketing today is happening is also revolutionary in a way. Today we are adding more and more channels of sales to Chetak. So for example, today you can not only book Chetak online by going to our website, and I would request some of your viewers, and in fact all of your viewers, to book Chetak online. You can book Chetak on Amazon as well. And I'm sure soon we'll be launching Chetak on multiple other e-commerce platforms. So it's not only about how well you're marketing, it's also about how you're adding and refining your sales channels as well. And that is, I think, one of the great ways which EV industry is revolutionizing the overall automotive sales channel as well.
Right, absolutely. I mean, Bajaj has been always at the forefront, bringing in new changes, adapting to the new landscape, right? So talking about the changing landscape, one of the, you can say the biggest thing that's going around in terms of measurement landscape is a cookieless future, right? So, I mean, what is it? If you could just kind of summarize it in 1-2 sentences of what is this, what is a cookieless future that we are going to step into, and what are the problems it's going to bring to brands and marketers like us?
There's a lot of buzz around cookieless world, right? One thing which we need to understand that only the third-party cookies are going away and first-party cookies are still intact. So a lot of performance marketing which generally happens on and inside the walled gardens is still going to be intact as far as measurement is concerned. And it's only the open internet advertising which is going to take an impact, and especially when the measurement is being based and dependent on the third-party cookies. Before we talk about third-party cookies going away, I think we need to understand why is it happening. And the core reason behind it is customer data sanctity and customers' privacy concerns. Right. Those concerns are rising than ever before. And because of those rising concerns, various policies have come into effect, whether it's the GDPR or CCPA. And different other countries are also going to implement sooner rather than later, right? And I foresee 3 main challenges which are going to come up when it comes to third-party cookies going away. One is the addressability issue, and this is going to be a big concern when it comes to open internet advertising. The second one is tracking, especially when it comes to retargeting use cases, which is the cross-website tracking that is going to be impacted. And finally, the measurement, which was dependent and based on third-party cookies. Right. So I think these are the 3 main challenges which we as an industry will have to solve and move forward, keeping in mind customers' data and privacy regulations.
Yeah, rightly you have pointed out the challenges that the brand or a marketer is going to face in the distant future. So now coming to the solutions, what kind of solutions a brand has to adapt to kind of overcome these problem statements that we have discussed?
So I think, again, talking about the problem right now, our traditional identifiers are going away, whether these are third-party cookies or these are identifiers for advertisers or mobile advertising IDs, right? And essentially, as I mentioned previously, there are going to be 3 problems coming up: addressability and audience activation, then performance marketing and loss of signals for that, and finally the measurement piece. Now, tackling the first one, which is the audience addressability, I think first-party data and infrastructure around that will be the key problem solver here. So companies will have to invest in their first party data and solutions like CDP, data clean rooms, and will have to make sure that they are leveraging that first party data in the best possible way for their digital advertising. Now, talking about the second problem, which is the performance marketing and loss of signals for performance marketing. And I believe there are server to server solutions and integrations which can really solve for that. So for example, Google has got enhanced conversions, which can really solve for that. And Meta has got its CAPI integrations, which is conversions API. I believe the overall objective of these solutions is to improve and increase the number of signals you can give back to the bidding algorithms and ultimately help performance marketing deliver on its core objectives.
Got it.
And the third piece, which we talked about, measurement, right? With third-party cookies going away, I believe the bigger cause of concern right now at hand is the post-view measurement rather than the post-click, because most of the advertisers are still relying on last-click UTM-based advertising and tracking, right? And I think for now, we'll have to rely on solutions like brand lift studies, SLS, with multiple third-party partners as well as ad tech partners like Google and Meta. But one thing here is that privacy sandbox solutions are also coming up. And I believe problems like post-view measurement can be solved with privacy sandbox solutions like protected audience API or pair or chips API.
Beautifully summarized, right? You talked about addressability, how there is a loss of signal, and how to get the signal back to the channels, respective channels for the performance measurement. And third thing is post measurement metrics, or how kind of insights that you normally derive from the post measurement piece. So firstly, definitely this is up to register the channels of Google, Meta. They are already investing in a lot of data clean rooms, as you mentioned. We'll come to that. But on the second bit, on the performance marketing measurement, right? Especially you mentioned server to server. So server to server has been around for a while and suddenly has become the hero. So what is server to server integration, and why it has become suddenly important?
I think server to server integration, as you mentioned, it has been around for quite some time, right? And the whole genesis of this solution has been to do more with less. Since with third-party cookies going away, and for us to be less reliant on cookies itself, the idea is to make sure that whatever signals are there, they can be passed back to the ad tech platforms directly from your servers, rather than relying on the cookies. Because in cases where cookies are not there, or there are some lag issues or bandwidth or internet issues on the browsers, server to server integrations covers those gaps and ultimately help you give right signals to ad tech platforms like Google and Meta, even though cookies or bandwidth issues are there on the browsers.
Cool, you kind of beautifully summarized how server to server is important, and more brands are embracing it day by day, as we have seen, right? Now you mentioned about data clean rooms. Firstly, I just take a minute to explain what a data clean room is. So data clean rooms are basically the solutions which are built to streamline your data from different sources. Since you be marketing across the channels or across different funnels, that's where you get to a platform, have measurable data in a particular format. What these the Googles and the Metas of the world are doing in terms of data clean room, and how the brands are embracing the data clean rooms.
Sure. So I think with ever rising concerns around privacy, different policies coming into effect, and third-party cookies going away, and ultimately diminishing signals, what is really coming up as a problem, and I mentioned that a minute before as well, that addressability is a big cause of concern for everybody. Advertisers have their own first-party data, but how do they really leverage that data? Right. The whole idea is that they should be able to target customers, use that first-party data in their advertising targeting, and ultimately reap the benefits out of that. But the challenge is having first-party data only at the customer or at the advertiser side is not the only solution. Absolutely. Advertisers have their own first-party data, and in a similar fashion, publishers have their first-party data. The whole idea is how we can use first-party data on both of these sides to target and run digital marketing campaigns in the best possible way. And merging this first-party data from both the advertiser and the publisher in a seamless and a privacy-centric way is what DCRs or data clean rooms have to offer. So take for example, you have launched a new car or a new automotive vehicle, and you want to reach out to the customers who have bought some older version of your motor vehicle 6 years back, and you want to reach out to them on digital advertising or on your top funnel campaigns, right? The idea is that you have your own first party data, and you want to see that how many of those audiences are available on a certain publisher. That is the solution which DCRs can really help us provide and ultimately solve for those problems. The three use cases which I see for data clean rooms are, number one is obviously tackling addressability and activating those audiences. Right. The second one is audience insights and ultimately enriching those audiences which you have. And finally, it's the optimization and reporting piece, because you want to make sure that you are able to have a full view of who is the person who is seeing your top funnel campaigns and whether those people are getting converted and buying from you or not.
Right. So I'm gonna now take you back to the earlier concept of how, especially Bajaj Auto is embracing this change, right? So a follow-up question to that, right? So measurement has been always at the core of what you guys do. So how important does measurement become for a brand like Bajaj Auto in this context of changing landscape?
So I think the beauty of digital advertising is when you can measure something, right? Yeah. And if there is no measurement, essentially there is no digital advertising to the process. And the way we at Bajaj Auto do, and the way I like to think about it, is that digital marketing has got three main activities, and the way I call it is 3 A's of digital marketing. The first activity is the planning activity, which is all about your media planning. Right. The second one is buying media and ultimately activating those media points. And finally is the measurement. Now, in all of these 3 A's, measurement is deeply ingrained in every activity. Right. So whether it's the media planning, you cannot plan for something without looking at your historical performance, historical metrics, whether it's as simple as CPMs, or whether it's as complex as getting the right cost per retail for your product or motorcycle in automotive case, right? When it comes to buying and activation, you need to measure it on the go and ultimately optimize your campaigns on the go.
That's a very interesting point you mentioned. Measurement doesn't come at the end, it's where it begins, the planning and entire process. It's measurement driven, not something that you do after the campaign has been launched.
Absolutely. And finally, it's the measurement and the feedback process. Right. So I think measurement is deeply ingrained as an activity in all the 2 activities which I just mentioned. And that's how we at Bajaj Auto does it, because that really helps us to allocate our media budgets in the best way possible with the exact information about how much budget to be invested in what channel based on the efficiencies of the channel.
Perfect. So in the earlier question, you touched based about data clean rooms. So everyone is kind of doing the data clean rooms, and more importantly, Google and Meta are also embracing this, and they have released their own versions of it, right? Which are called ADH, Ads Data Hub, and Advanced Analytics, respectively, right? So what's your view on them?
I think my closest encounter with data clean room has been Ads Data Hub. I would love to leverage advanced analytics, but haven't done so yet. But Ads Data Hub has really solved a lot of our problems, because Ads Data Hub measure the impression level activity for every ad and ultimately help us derive important insights out of that. Google is improving the overall functionalities of Ads Data Hub, where it's not just about measurement, but also giving you the capabilities of data clean rooms. And as things progress, I believe Ads Data Hub is going to be the new analytics tool for us.
So I think it's very clear that in today's age, the brand needs to adapt to these evolving ecosystems, right? So for a new age brand, for them to thrive and become successful, can you summarize what is the approach these guys needs to take in terms of not just becoming successful and scaling up their businesses, but at the same time taking care of their customers and their privacy?
So I think the mantra is very simple. You first of all have to assess yourself as an organization. Where do you stand in digital maturity curve? Right. Whether you are a nascent organization, whether you are emerging or connected or multimodal. Once you have assessed that as an organization, you need to take help and leverage certain players in the ecosystem, whether these are agencies or publishers. And ultimately, you'll need to keep on investing in your first party data infrastructure because that's the key when it comes to cookieless world and a world which is privacy safe and highly regulated in terms of digital advertising.
Thanks, Gauri. It has been a very insightful session. We spoke at length about many things, to be honest, and you also mentioned what a brand needs to do and how they can be a successful brand at the same time take care of privacy concerns of their customers. It has been a wonderful experience having this chat with you.
Thank you so much, Akhil.
If you don't want to leave any stone unturned in measuring your marketing outcomes, do reach out to us. Thanks everyone for watching. We will continue to bring such much more insightful conversations with you. Stay tuned and subscribe.